crazy. Got it.
I'm as crazy as you are too. So
So
we're
let's have
both
fun.
crazy. The both
Let's have
crazy guy
fun.
gonna be on the YouTube to now. We are like awesome. Let's uh let's let it cool down because I want to add the music to begin with, so it's gonna be fun. So before we're gonna talk a little bit, but I'm gonna stop a little bit and I'm gonna share why I'm doing the podcast. That would be introducing the a nonprofit organization called Healing California to basically to get people aware that why I'm doing those podcasts. And Healing California is very interesting an organization, but hold on for that. So uh, hello everyone. We are live streamed right now. I'm honored to have Dr. BaK Nguyen on the line there. Dr. BaK, hello, how are you?
Thank you, Dr. Huynh. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and thank you for having me.
It's hard for us to find a time, but you really make a time for today. I know you trying to spend some time instead of spend some time with the kid right now, but you
No, actually, you're
trying to
giving
get
me
it.
too much credit. The truth is, you call me, I was available, you was available. I think it will be much more work for us to try to schedule something and respect it than to do it
Uh-huh.
right away.
Yeah, that do right away. I think that's the good way to do. Uh, everyone, just want to welcome you and welcome Dr. BaK is on this podcast. Dr. BaK, you are in Montreal, Canada now, right?
Yeah, proud Canadian.
Yeah, and I know that you know we've been follow up back and forth with you on your social media appearance. You've been doing a lot of different things. You run in your company, dental group, and also other recently that you are get more involved with the your publication of Alpha leadership in dentistry is really powerful. I see that you connect doctor around the world and you make things change. So let's start with your dentistry company, and we can just talk a little bit about how long you've been doing your dentistry, and also I'm not sure you're doing dentistry anymore. Give us some background up.
Thank you so much for your kind introduction, and I hope that your public will be forgiven because you put the bar very high. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who's trying to make a difference in the world. And thank you for mentioning leadership book because it just arrived today. This is
Wow.
the first time I'm holding it.
Mhm.
It was a hassle to have this one out. I'm not sure why.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's pretty much after COVID, what happened? I've been brought to realize what we are as dentists, which is a fragment of a doctor. And this, I'm using the right words. It's we've been benched 2 weeks prior to everyone else. We've been benched for 3 months. Nobody even cared because we were lacking gloves and mask. And with all the titles after our name, with all our egos and everything that we do, it's like, it's the worst health crisis of our lifetime. And we were benched to save on gloves and masks. It's how hard is this to accept?
That's right.
But mostly that brought me to the realization that we have a broken profession. We have to do something to fix it. And I was never meant to be a dentist. You look at me, you see an Asian, and I'm hoping I'm not insulting anyone here, but it took me 20 years to admit in public that I became a dentist to please my parent. I didn't feel in that mode. But what I have to say is the profession gracefully accepted me for who I was, and I'm in debt to the dentistry. So that's pretty much why I'm looking forward to pay it back somehow by bringing to this profession what I can do. And usually it's I'm outside of the box because I'm out of the box. My ideas are funny. My ideas are strange, but we are in a time that we need. I think maybe not crazy ideas, but we need to change. Because if we don't, next time we could be replaced by something better, maybe
Mhm.
by another class of profession, and this is what will make it will make it even more painful. So that's why you're asking the leadership book, where it's coming from. It's coming from the thing that we have to listen to we people are telling us. We have to build up from there. So that's pretty much how I got dentists around from around the world, leaders trying me, because we all realize that something is wrong here, and it's gonna be up to us to fix it. If not, we're gonna get it. So that's the leadership book.
Give us a little bit more your movement so far. I know that the Alpha Dentistry have been rapidly growing, and I know that the journey have been incredible. And you recently went to Hungary and probably other country as well.
Yeah. I want to launch this book, but it wasn't ready yet. So we had it out on digitally speaking, so everybody could download it from Kindle and from Apple. But the print version just arrived to me. It just arrived today, about 5 minutes before we went online.
Wow, that's amazing. Also, congratulations, by the way. That's awesome. And for those of you who haven't heard about Dr. BaK Nguyen, he have been published more than is that close to 200 book now?
Oh, please. I am at 124. Each book is important. It takes time, especially when the books, it's this thick. This is one of the latest I got out. So it takes times to get those out. Now, that's being said, I do hold the record for the last 6 years to have written in average 2 books a month.
This is amazing.
I'm trying to keep that, but I'm wondering this year, how long would I submit myself to that kind of crazy pace?
Let me ask you, were you English major in undergraduate? Were you an English major or?
Absolutely not. I went straight from CJEP, that's what we have here, to university. I have to spend a year in biology because my grade were not good enough. Then I finally came accepted to dental school. So that was kind of the liberation from the obligation to my parents. And I stay in school at the minimum time required. It's funny because with all the titles, when I'm on a table speaking with dentists, usually I'm the one with the least number of letters after my name. It doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
So yes, I have graduated as a dentist, so I'm legit. But I did spend the minimum time at school possible.
Awesome. I know that you mentioned about your passion is not only just in dental, like from the dental chair, and your passion is, give us the background of your passion and vision for what you're trying to change dentistry. And you mentioned a lot of things about, we have some broken system. Explain to us a little bit deeper.
If I go straight to the point, I am obsessed by fixing things that I can see can be fixed. So I never impose myself. If something is broken, I have no talent. So what do you want me to do? But if I start to see a way to fix it, now I became obsessed with result.
Yes.
And usually the advice I'm giving to people is don't stand in my way when I'm convinced that we have a way to fix something that would just make sense to everyone. So pretty much this is more the mentality of an entrepreneur or a politician. And I wasn't meant to be a dentist, but I stay a dentist for now close to 25 years now, and I'm trying to make the most out of it. But what I'm trying to say here is, as I recognize that our profession has huge void. Before COVID, one of the things we have to face is the highest rate of depression in society for decades, when nobody even care about it, and we greet a new graduate with that in dental school. That was something that was intriguing to me. Then COVID hit, and then we said that the whole profession is way more broken than we even think. And again, who has the answer? Most of us spend our life looking to do surgery a little better. Most of us spend most of our life running to just make a corner look sharper. Well, big things in a profession never got fixed. So let me just drop some bombs here, and this is from leadership. The leadership book is, let's say that You look at any dentist. A dentist will spend most of his time trying to be better in surgery, whatever surgery you do. But then we complain that we don't have the skills to run a clinic, which is a business.
Right.
So then some of us upgrade and then start taking course in business, and we call that leadership.
Mhm.
Look up in all the books. That's management. That's not leadership. But since we are overloading ourselves with surgery, treating teeth, then we go in business and try to learn all the basic of how to keep our books clean. That's pretty much what it is. And try to just get our staff to deliver. We're overburn after that. But if you look to this, we have kind of zero human perspective, treating not teeth but human. So that's a problem. And after COVID, it is a fact that we have no leadership skills because all
Right.
we do, to the best of our knowledge, is management, and we call that leadership. So
Mm.
let's give you kind of the void that I see. I was maybe the only one seeing it, but after COVID, it was pretty obvious. So everyone said, yeah, something is broken. So what it is? And I cannot say that I have the answer, but the answer will start by asking the right questions.
Mhm.
So basically, if you go through my career as the last 10 years, I was trying to fix the human size of dentistry first.
Mhm.
Then COVID hit, and then I have even bigger issue to solve. And now I'm tagging also the leadership problem, which is what is, and people will ask me, what is leadership basically? So if running a business is management, so what is leadership? Leadership is you have to define your role in society. What good are you to other people? And for
Mhm.
as long as that is not good enough, you're not that important.
Right.
And until now, we're good to treat teeth. That's pretty much what it is.
Mhm.
And in COVID, teeth were not important.
True.
So the equation 1 + 1 equals that's the answer. And that's give you kind of the mindset. So why you see me all over the place? It's not that I'm all over the place. I'm using all the medium at my disposal
Mhm.
to try to advance the same message.
Mhm. Right. Awesome. I know that you connect with pretty much all doctors around the world. Um, what's the way that you reach out to people from one way or another? Or what sort of, how do you connect them people?
Basically, I started reaching out at COVID when we were all bench and I was looking for answers because I was depressed. I didn't know what to do. And I went on LinkedIn and started reaching out to people was who were on my LinkedIn. So pretty much some people I never talked to,
Mhm.
some never answer, other answer. The one who first start to answer and we start to chat just to sure. So can you tell me, doctor, how did this happen in your corner of the world? The first person was Dr. Paul Wallet, and I always remember that because we had a great talk, and he became kind of the base of the alphas. Him and about 12 other dentists who were starting to join, and we were all looking for answers.
Mhm.
At that time, we didn't have a name. We're just people connecting. I'm
Mhm.
more a business person than a doctor, so also I got all my friends from the business world involved and said what we're doing, and they too were still looking at what's wrong because 2 weeks later everybody was affected by COVID.
Right.
So again, we went online and we didn't look to rebel. We didn't look to just defy the government. What we're doing is okay. There's a lot of resources that has been put on ice. So since we're so many intelligent people, can we just make sure that the next step will be covered? So that's pretty much what we did.
Mhm.
And slowly that slowly shaped into the alphas. It took us, I think, a few weeks before we even have that timeline. Alphas was a brand that my marketing team was working on one of my brand, and since everything was there already, and I'm a lazy guy, so I say let's take this. It's already ready. Put it there and see
Mhm.
how people react. And that was a huge risk, because as dentists or as doctors, we're very sensitive about how we will perceive. And the alphas was kind of the big hero thing.
Mhm.
But when I proposed it, Nobody said a thing. So I push, and after I think 3 weeks, that was official. That was the alpha. And if you want to join, you join. Don't want to join, don't be there.
Mhm.
And people were asking me, I think once about me and my alphas on an intentional interview, and I I thought that true before, but using the word alpha, it doesn't mean that they are my alphas. Basically, they are alphas. All I'm doing is to host them, to gather them together, and that brought another light to leadership. Because the way that we have built the alpha, there's no leaders. We're all leaders.
Mhm.
All we do is to gather together, and if we agree on one, let's say, challenge or one mission, those people who's going to join that mission will work together, and after that you can respect it or not the decision, but we're not making group decision, we're not taking an average of opinion. It's all of us have the means to do whatever they want by themselves. But now that you have more friends joining, and there's some very powerful people in the alphas, it's
Mhm.
it make it at the beginning of COVID, it gave us hope. After that, it gave us power. So
Amen.
by today, we are now what 3 years later. I don't have to recruit alpha somewhere, and that I'm very lucky about that. But mostly, let's say that I have a book out, and I'm gonna write to my friends who want to join,
Mhm.
and it's most of the time people are referring other people in.
Right. I see.
So and because we write books, people are already asking, how do you sort out alphas? I don't like to judge people. Everybody's welcome.
Mhm.
But to be honest, since we write books, you know that sort people out by itself. People who are real alphas have something to say, and they're gonna move very quickly. Those who want to be alpha, you can feel it that there's gonna take more time before the drawing. It's always more complex. There's always an excuse, and they drop out by themselves. Now, I've been fortunate. Most of the people who are reaching out feel that they are alphas and deliver as alphas, and this is the fun thing of it. By the way, by the end of the day, I'm not running any kind of organization. It's a way for people to connect and to grow together.
Right.
So I just gave you how the alpha is structured
Mhm.
with basically no structure.
Great. No, that's wonderful. But I think that is the higher mindset. You know, when you have so much bureaucracy and different level of an organization, and too many criteria, and then so many delay, and like you said, you know, they will eliminate themselves when they start the book. You know, if they feel like they can help it.
Let me just share with you amongst the alphas, some people have generated billions in revenue. Some other people have, I think, under management more than 100 billions.
Wow.
Those are the people. Now, if I say that out loud, doesn't mean that if you are a dentist, that you just want to, you're not an alpha. Everybody can be an alpha. It's a choice.
Mhm.
And what I have successfully established here is I think that whatever you did in the past is what you can bring on the table, but it's basically what you will do for the future that will matter. And on that, I have all the alphas to agree. Now, I know that by the end of the day, it's gonna be very naive from my part saying that nobody's judging somebody else. But when you have a mission, you appreciate your partner because if they're not doing their job, you're the one doing it. So the respect is there.
Yes.
I'm starting even to have former prime ministers to join in. And you know that I'm working on economies, and there's more stuff to me than just dentistry.
Mhm.
And all of that presence humbles me to the, the deepest of my core, because for as long as you have a mission and you're here to serve, no matter your title, people will be joining in if
Mhm.
they believe in the mission.
Yeah.
But if you're stuck on your title, you're stuck on the past, you're stuck with yourself basically. So if you want to know more about the alphas, that just give you an insight of who is the alphas, what's the alpha, and there's no way you can reach all alphas all at once. It's basically if we have a mission, we start gathering alphas, and then we move forward. Now, what I have as a power, it's usually when I gather a mission. About a month later, the book is out on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, so people know that it's serious. About a month and a half later, we have an intentional launch on Spotify. So if people see this, and we work from LinkedIn groups, the people who didn't join, they know what they miss. And I'm very good playing that game. They know what they miss. So very politely, the door is open, and now they reach out again. And now this time back, I am serious. Let's do it. So if I share very openly, this is how I motivate people. I never blame anyone. Everything is there, but if you haven't delivered, you know exactly what you miss.
Hey guys, you are listening and watching our podcast with Dr. BaK Nguyen, the founder of Alpha Dentistry book, you can say, or an Alpha group. He basically connect with doctor around the world and do bigger things for the just being a dentist, or we can be doing bigger thing for the future generation. When we come back, I can just want to, Dr. BaK, you mind if I just share the screen real quick for what I do, why I make this podcast? So, Dr. BaK, just want to introduce you. Huynh, California is the nonprofit organization. And what we do is we serve dentistry, free dentistry, medical and vision for California homeless and underserved population. And you are aware that the 81,000 people just show up in the ER department every year just for dental care that could be prevented. And so there is 3.9 million of Californians is lack of basic dental care and vision. And we have 10,000 or plus the Western are homeless. So our solution is to help people. So the way we do is we provide free dentistry, free medical care, and free vision for these people. And we don't take any money from those patients, no insurance reimbursement, anything like that. We basically partner with local people, local organizations that already have nonprofit, and we partner with them, and we provide equipment, material, and pretty much the supply that they need, and we just need to partner with the doctor and nurse and optometrist and serve them. We have the mobile vans unit, and we do that. And so I'm part of the board, and I'm trying to introduce this organization for people, and people wondering, like, say, why are you on podcast? What are you doing it for? So this is one of the things that after 22 years of doing dentistry, I feel like, yes, we just like you we have to have something to do beside that. So this is something I'm helping them to grow the vision, the team here. We pretty much like from Southern California to Northern California. And you look at the clinic, the upcoming clinic, we have all booked from now, tomorrow, all the way to October, different location in California. And pretty much, anybody want to either volunteer or support us, or partner with us, you can just file more on using the Huynh, California, HuylingCA.org, clinic or partner, and you can help to partner with us. You see we join with multiple partner right here from Northern California to Southern California. And if you can volunteer, click on the volunteer section here. If you're a dentist or optometrist or medical doctor or nurse, here's the click. And if you can just make a donation for us using this click here, and we will be reaching out to you to talk to you more about how you can be doing either a long-term partner or short-term partner, or just a donor just for one time. But we really need your help to grow this organization, to help. We've been doing this for years, and we serve the cost that we serve is more than 4 million value so far. So with that said, I just want to have an opportunity to introduce my guest, so that way he or she know a little bit about what we do. And thank you very much for allowing me sharing that, Dr. BaK.
Actually, Thank you for doing this. We need more people and more initiative like this to make this world a better place.
Yes, absolutely. So, just like you are doing something bigger than what we do. And let's get back to our conversation about Alpha Dentistry and how you have moved this organization, this movement quite rapidly.
Uh,
And
Before moving forward, I think we have to clear out something.
uh-huh.
You joined the Alpha too. You're an Alpha.
Yes,
It's not.
yes,
It's not
yes,
you and them. It's we are big, part of a big family, and
yes. I'm
your
honored
mindset. It's exactly that. What
I'm
an
honored
Alpha
to
is about.
for
It's
you
to make a difference.
to invite me in. I think that's it's gonna be something that we look forward for future of dentistry and future years to come for more of the actually in-person get together and doing things that the world haven't ever seen before. I think with this internet technology, so much to help each other.
Actually, if I may, let me just sell my salad a little bit. The way that we say it, I'm not looking to sell book at all. That's not how I make things. But leadership. If you
Mhm,
go through this, it's we are 10 of us from 7 different countries joining force to talk about the problems that we saw since COVID and how we have to move forward.
mhm,
But the biggest not promise but goal that we have established, and this is more me than anybody else, but we're trying to find a way to lower the fees of dentistry to both patient and dentist,
mhm,
because the fees are already through the roof. Half the population don't have access, and in COVID time we kind of saw that the half of the population that we have access to love us. Hopefully, I would like to say most of them love us, but half a population who doesn't consult us hate us because they think it's too expensive. They think that we are crazy rich people. But the truth is, we are running hospitals. We're running mini hospitals, and we try to make the most out of it. And our industry is it's decentralized to the maximum.
mhm,
So there's no authority except for the boards of licensing. There is no leadership, and basically each dentist is left to buy what they think or she thinks are best. And pretty much what is happening is we make the average of the cost and the waste of dentistry and then spread it around saying that that's a standard. Just to share, when COVID, you know that everything went up in price.
yeah,
You look at your dental care,
yeah,
those stays vary in the margin of what was before COVID.
mhm,
So I would like all the people who listen to us to understand that. What do you think happened? Who take that cut? All
mhm,
dentists operating clinics took that cut from their paycheck to just make sure that the service operation stays the same. And I agree, it's already expensive. But you know that the salary exploded since COVID. So I'm not saying this to try to have any pity. What I'm saying here is that's it's broken and this is gonna be sustainable for long.
mhm,
And if we increase the price based on the inflation rate, which is kind of usually what we do, it's gonna be a scandal because it's already too expensive.
mhm,
So who's gonna fix that?
mhm,
Who's gonna address that?
yeah,
That's pretty much what we're trying to at least have a dialogue around. What
right.
is the beginning of that solution? So I know that dentist was hearing this. Finally, somebody here understand me. But we have to also keep in mind that by the end of the day, the people we serve are the patients, and our loyalty is to a patient. So this is pretty much, if you ask why I'm doing this, it's somebody has to start somewhere, right? If not, we're gonna all pay that price. Either you're in California or in Europe or in Canada, we all have the same problem. And all of the average of our mistakes make up for the fees we're charging. But by the end of the day, just think of that for the 3 last years, your dental care did not move that much up when everything exploded. And that, inflation rate is through the roof. Who take that cut? Next time you see your dentist, say thank you.
Absolutely. Um, talk about your travel. I mean, recently you've been to different country. And were you able to accomplish some big meeting?
To be honest, I traveled to Hungary to launch the book Leadership from an international symposium in Sinzan. I have the fortune to have very powerful co-authors who join me, Dr. Masaki Ayeni and Dr. Kathleen Nagy, who she's also a consul over there, and a former dean. So we launched that book. We have other 7 co-authors who join in, and that was a way for us to just start spreading this message.
Mhm.
Now, I think that the way that we deliver this and people have received the message, yes, we have a lot of attention, and I'm going home with a lot of friendship, a lot of respect from different dentists. But I've been fortunate to have met a few presidents of dental association from all around the world. So pretty much it's now that the leadership is starting to work together, we don't have to work as hard, right?
Yeah,
We have to make sure that it makes sense.
yeah,
And then pretty sure that in more conference around the world, we're gonna have more of this coming out. So yes, this one book leadership, but that's just home one. We have to work on this to compile it and then to push to the next level. I'm hopefully that within the next few months and years, this is it's a work that will be keep building up.
mhm,
Um, and since this the alpha is behind it, it's not just me. There's many other people,
mhm,
and I'm just hoping that I have just started something that more people will pick up on
mhm.
because I'm just one guy. Leadership cannot happen by one person.
Right, right.
That's not leadership. That's crazy.
So,
But I've started this, and I'm been fortunate to have great partners joining in, just like you.
yep, thank you very much. The good part is, we for somebody like either you or me is to get to where we are, we must have at least a decent, stable financial support from either our practice or your company in order for us to do something bigger than what we can do right now. So I'm sure that your organization, your medics being controlled now after COVID, things getting better now.
Um, I would say to you that COVID get me to be very humble.
I
I,
know,
I,
I
I
know,
thought I was doing great, solid, and 3 years of COVID taught me a lot of humility.
I know, I
Now,
know.
until now, we are stable. Hopefully, things will get better. But I am at the downtown Montreal, and I don't know where it is how it is in California, but in downtown Montreal, we have 2 crises, one on top of the other.
Really?
Because you force people to stay at home for a while
Yeah.
and they move,
Wow.
downtowns are now ghost town.
Really? Wow.
And 3 years later, I don't like to cry for help or saying that, but things are broken. So the rent is as high, the taxes as high,
Mhm.
but then you have the staff shortage on top to manage,
Yeah.
and there's no clientele. Basically, where we are, we have to import a clientele. And
Mhm.
because we have a reputation, people are coming in, but then they say, I love you a lot to travel that far. But
Yes.
before they were working just next door.
Right. Right.
So hopefully things will change, but I'm not naive looking at the way it is and the way that society has changed.
Mhm.
Adjustment will have to be made.
Mhm.
And this is not just from the entrepreneurial side. I think that the governments will have to realize that if they don't want to kill all of those who are kind of just obeying to the waves, things has changed. You cannot just force people who move within COVID and who make sure that they can work from home to
Mhm.
force them to come back or to lay them off and things are going to go back to normal. People are way smarter than that. We have
Mhm.
to understand that we have changed something and maybe it's going to be for the better.
Mhm.
The change will have to be all across the board, not just have the past to try to build up and try to catch up on this and then saying that, okay, yeah, we try and we fail. We broke the system somehow. When we stopped working with COVID, we broke the system and people were thinking that we're just pressing on pause and
Mhm.
unpause. As we press on pause, and now 3 years later, you can see that some of the parts are gone. For real. And it sounds drama. I wrote a book about the economy, and let me just share with you. If you went to New York City
Mhm.
by March 2022, so that's not too far away. I was there. Down in Times Square at 8 in the morning, it was a ghost town. I never saw that in my life. I have a film. I did film some clip there. Then I went in the front of the Rockefeller Center, which is, I think, the News Corp headquarter, and we had parking right across the street. That's not even thinkable in New York. And if you go through what happened in the real estate market of New York, people were selling condos because pretty much all you can have in New York is condos. Even with millions in loss, they sold it. And this is not coming from, you can go through them. So basically, if you unravel that story, what does it tell you? It's when in COVID, we forced people to work from home. And then in all the condos, you were stuck inside of your condos. Maybe you have 800 square feet, maybe 1,000, maybe even 2,000, but that was it. So the rich people, who can afford them, they did is they sold the condo. And then they moved to Florida, where there was less restriction. And with the same amount of money, they can buy a house with a land.
Right.
2 years happen. Do you think they're going to move back to that condo in New York, which they don't have anymore? And those are the executive. Now, some people cannot afford to move. So who stays? The people who stays are the people who couldn't afford to move. And those in power move. So if you go through this, how can you enforce a law, but the leadership is gone already, or part of the leadership is gone already?
Right.
And now it's 2 years down the road. Their children went to other school, they bought a house, and they sold the first one at loss, maybe sometime at millions of dollars. Do you really gonna go back to that and say that, yeah, I'm gonna go back, and if there's a problem, I have to move back again? Because never in their life they're gonna go back to that 800 square feet. So that's pretty much a story that I think hopefully not all of us can relate to, but this is a story that happened all around the world. And now you're asking people to come back, but 2 years later, they're not there anymore. From a distance, they're there, but you're coming to inside of the office, and those people who could move were the one that usually can afford it, which so basically the leadership class. If they don't want to show up, how can they make sure the rest will show up? I know this is a bomb to drop, but you just go through this logic and go through each city that you have access to, and you see that it's not a rare story. This is a classic story that happened in COVID that nobody can have predict, but it happened. So how do you face that? And you cannot erase the past. So at this stage here, there's a crisis. Pretty much the recession is hitting.
Yep.
And we just try to catch up. That will be the worst thing we can do as not just dentists, but as nations, is to think that things will come back to how they were before. Things has changed. Now, if we can adjust to that change, it's going to still be painful, but less painful than to dream on something that does not exist anymore.
Right. Dr. BaK, the podcast, a lot of the young dentists are looking for our guidance, our advice. Give the young dentists who are about to graduate or about to go to dentistry, give some of them some hope, some advice, some suggestion. What should they do? Because the technology changed, everything changed, dentistry changed. So many things that we can talk about. Just draw a few things that you feel like if you're gonna want to be a successful dentist out there, repair yourself, certain thing. Give us some of the kid advice, the young generation.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm not sure I'm the best person to say this, but because you ask, to the young dentists out there, what did you learn is the past. That's how you learn it. It's because it's been proven that it's working. Now we live at the crossroad of moments, and especially with AI coming,
Right.
everything will change again.
Mhm.
My advice to you is to stay humble, it's
Mhm.
to stay open, and to be ready to adjust.
Mhm.
That will be my best advice. Now, as a dentist, I'm going to tell you something that it looks like it's obvious, but so many people lost their ways. Love your patient. Stop being hooked on teeth and gums. Love your patient. If you serve your
Beautiful.
patient, the teeth and
Beautiful.
the gums will follow.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful advice. That's the experienced doctor talking about. Is you gotta love your patient. That's the first thing to do. Not just love the teeth, but love the patient. That's the relationship, the connection that we have to have.
Actually, it sounds very but if you practice this profession for a little too long, you can see that it's very easy to lose focus.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah. So and then the other thing that people always follow you, just including me, that we are interested in. I know you published a book called 30 Days, How to Publish a Book and things like that. Uh, how do you have that? First of all, like, how do you get that energy to just focus and producing one book another and give us like
Mm.
your insight.
Um, for this, we have to start from the start, the beginning. It's I started writing book back in 2017, and pretty much is I have came up with a new concept of practicing dentistry. I got the support of the financial industry, and basically, it's I was one of the first ones to put a hotel for dentists together, kind of so a kind of a not a Uber way, but it's more complex than that. But to share resource amongst dentists, because of that, we have much more resource, and the installation was on another level. I have 2 floors of a skyscraper in the heart of Montreal. Let's give you an idea. But that was not to serve me. It was to make sure that I can serve other dentists. So when we arrived with that, and the banks would say, "Man, this is a good idea. We should do this." I even got the nomination of Ernst& and Young Entrepreneur of the Year, which I lost, by the way, but that's another story. Um, then I have to convince my clients, which are dentists, to say that this is something that can work for you. It makes sense. Because all the financial industry is like, yeah, we want this to work. And we were already having that, and there was a lot of them planned, but the prototype, the first one, was downtown Montreal. Then I realized that actually I had some PR director who came in and said that now we have to package that message and get this out. And they went to me and say, you know that you're gonna get crucified. I said, how come? I say, you basically want your clients to understand that what they're doing is wrong. And you're talking to dentists. Say, oh shit, I didn't think of that one. And then they arrive with a lot of scenario how we can make this work. But it was every time coming with a tight price of about 2-3 millions in marketing fees, and there was never something sure. So I fired everyone. I didn't have those millions to spend. Then I met a crazy guy. He's a producer. He went to me and said, "Doc, I have the solution to your problem. If you try to convince doctors that what they do is wrong, they will never listen. So let's make it easier. And I'm not sure that you're ready to take the stage. How about go step by step? So let's have you on the stage first, talking to a crowd who love you." So okay, I don't know I had that. So basically, what he said to me, it's you are an entrepreneur. What you're doing is innovative, it's groundbreaking, and if you talk from your experience to other entrepreneurs, you're gonna inspire them.
Mhm.
I love this idea. And then he signed me up. So I signed up, and I'm a very proud guy. So I usually never back out of something. It took him months before coming back to me. No, I have my bills to pay, so I call him. So when are we starting? So he finally announced to me that my first gig was booked after Michelle Obama. And that was just when Trump just got elected. So Michelle Obama had a lot of sex appeal. How can you win this one? People leave after Michelle Obama. You talk before her, people say that just go faster. I want to go to the main event, and after that, people are leaving. So that was my first public appearance. It was in Toronto. It was supposed to be, actually, it's in English. And by the way, I'm French. So by that point, I have to think twice before I can speak, because I think in French and I have to translate in my mind. But I was too proud to say, no, man, I'm not doing that. And he looked at me and said, yeah, you scared, right? Okay. So he gave me an advice. He go back home, watch some TED Talks, and prepare a few. I can tell you which one is the best. Believe me or not, by that time I didn't even know what a TED Talk was, because I didn't have time. All I'm doing was to just make sure that I can produce. So I went back home, watched some TED Talks, and they were boring as hell. Then fortunately, I stumbled upon a video, not even a TED Talk, a video from the Admiral Mike Raven, saying that if you want to change the world, make your bed. And that one was from the Gold Cast. So they put the music on. It was 5 minutes. It was fantastic. I think I went to that video maybe 20 times the first day, because it was so inspirational. And that idea of changing the world, making your bed. So basically, what I did after that, I sat down, I went to that video, and I started to analyze the structure of that speech. I'm not saying that that's the right way to go, but mostly what I understood is have a bold statement as a title. Then you have to explain what you're trying to say. And then you have to go inside of your past to build up an emotional story, so people can understand where is that coming from. And the fourth section, it's now you have to look at the crowd and empower them. That's pretty much what I understood from that concept. So I sat down and started writing my TED Talks. But when you do that, you should try to look good. And after 2 or 3, I didn't know what to write anymore. And it's always a little funny when you try to look. So I have other friends, and as dentists, I have the fortune to meet a lot of people. One of those patient friends of mine, all the producing awards that Canada has, he had them at least once or twice.
Wow.
So I was sharing with him, I'm writing TED Talks, blah, blah. And he looks at me and said, okay, let me just share with you one piece of advice. If you want this to be successful, you have to talk about your failures. This is what the juice is. If you talk about your success, it's going to be boring as hell. Nobody will even listen. Okay, man, I was treating him, and we tried to talk as I was walking in his mouth. And I went back and I started to write about my failures. As an entrepreneur, 20 years of failures. I didn't even have to think. It went out by itself. So within about the next 10 days or so, I got 21 TED Talks written about my past, how I survived my failures, basically. I went back to my friend, and by the time I wasn't crazy, but I knew what I did, so I just have to add an introduction and a conclusion, and I have my first book within 2 weeks. But I never had a goal to write a book. I was wanting to prepare myself for stage after Michelle Obama, and everything was in English because I had to practice. I went back to him and said, which one you want? He couldn't believe that I wrote 21 TED Talks. It's a book. And the structure, all the structure, it's the way it is written, it's every chapter is self-contained, because it was supposed to be a TED Talk, but there's still a logic to this. So basically, to make a long story short, Michelle Obama canceled. That never happened, but I was ready. And to be able to do that, I woke up at 4 in the morning. So from 4 to 7, before my day even starts, I have the time to write. Trying to look good, that takes time. But as I started writing about my failures, it was kind of a self-therapy. It felt so good. So I was writing basically from my phone in the beginning. It was just like texting. So I never had a clue how many words I was writing. But after, when you transfer that into your computer, you say, oh shit, that's a lot of words. So basically, I finished my first book in 2 weeks. Then I have to translate that in French, because I have a pass, and it will look very bad for people like me to go on stage, speak in English, and not say a word in French. So I have to, I beat myself up to retranslate that book in French, and 25,000 words in English became 35,000 words in French. So I
Wow.
can tell you that I know the difference between the language now.
Uh-huh.
And the whole thing was finished within a month. The
Wow.
second book in French was not easy to write because now it was to me just forcing myself to do something.
Mhm.
But here's the funny story. It's after that I kept waking up without any alarms at 4 in the morning. So
Mhm.
at the beginning, yeah, okay, I wake up and then you try to go asleep again. But that's the worst thing because you wake up at 4, you cannot fall back to sleep. And then as soon as you fall to sleep, then you're late for work. So I think it took me about 2 other weeks, and then I went with my body. If I woke up at 4, I start writing something else.
Mhm.
And 6 years later, I hold the world record writing books. I hold so many of them because every new book now is a new world record. Um, People ask me how you find way more ideas to write book, and I'm gonna share that with you. The first book is the hardest because you
Mm.
try to look good, you try to get rid of your past. After the first book, you don't care anymore. Now you can explore the future, and you have just master a medium to work. So, if I may, let me share with you a few secrets that I think that your public will love.
Yes.
We all want to evolve, and to evolve, usually we have to take steps to make a difference. So most of us will read books, but we all know that reading books is not enough. Going to conferences is not enough. You need a coach,
Yeah.
and our coach will tell you that the hardest thing to do with a coachee is to break his own resistance. That sounds silly, but you want to change, but in the same time, you don't want to change because everything you want to change is part of your value, your identity, and blah blah. So basically, we are what we are because we do what we do. If
Mhm.
you want to change, you have to stop doing what you do, which is very hard.
Yeah.
So here is my take on coaching. I've been coached for politics. I've been coached for a lot of things,
Mm.
and always it was not a hassle, but I can feel that resistance for myself.
Mm.
But writing books, especially when you talk about your failures, you're the one identifying your own failures. Now it's going to be very silly for you to argue with that, right? It's you with yourself. So basically, writing books, and if you're truthful about your past, that's the best way to coach yourself to be better. Because now it will be so silly for you to, yeah, I did that, and I'm gonna keep doing that, even if that was a failure.
Mm.
So after one book after the next, I start to purge myself from my flaws. Not saying that I'm perfect today, but I'm much better than I was. So I think that the day I'm gonna stop is the day I don't see any flaws left, but that's gonna take a long time. And writing a book in 30 days, it's I kind of packaged the technique I knew, the why I'm doing that, so everybody can start doing the same thing.
Really awesome. Thank you so much for that kind of insight out about exactly how you motivate you and the strategy to write a book and the exactly the how you can start a first book, and then now you have so many book published, and the way you mention is very amazing. Is you have to write what you fail, what you didn't get, what you not you, what you successfully done, but what you didn't do well, and based on that you build up your story, your books.
Don't
uh,
get me wrong, I love to brag about what I'm doing well, but
of course, yeah.
to write so many books, it was so it was easier to talk about my failures.
Uh, so some of you guys also don't know that Dr. BaK is actually have son, and he also partnered with his son and wrote a few books as well. Tell us a little bit, encourage some of the parents.
Actually, it's as a busy parent, because you have to understand that I'm a CEO, I'm a dentist, and now I'm a world record writing books. So I still have to make time for my family. So
uh,
my son, he was then 7. He wants to spend more time with me, and said, "Dad," that's out of the blue. One day we were driving home. I said, "Dad, when I'm gonna be big, I'm gonna write 2 books."
uh,
So I was laughing, and then my wife was just on the front seat with me, and I was like, "I look very sexy now as a father."
mhm,
Then I asked my son, "So what would you like to write about?" So he said, "One about a lion heart. And by that time, I was writing presidential speech. So I was talking about the concept of lion hearts. I think he picked up on what I was reading out loud. And the other one about being a good son.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not making this up. This stuff is true.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so proud of myself that, okay, but I don't know how to write book for kids. I don't have to know how to write a book with kids. And you remember that I stumbled upon this as an accident. It was never my goal to write books. I'm the laziest guy you can find. So basically, as I reached 15 books over 15 months, which was one of my landmark world record, and I worked very hard for that one. And I was exhausted. He was now 8. He was looking at me and said, "So, Papa, why don't we do our book?" I said, "Oh shit! I respect my promise to everyone in the world except for to my kid."
Mm.
So I have to sit down with him and say, "Okay, how are we gonna make this happen?" So I was playing with the concept for now more than a year, pretty much a year or so. So we arrived at the concept that everybody, it's because remember the first book he wanted to write is about a lion heart.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what I told him is, a lion heart, you're gonna write about it. That's my book. And he was mad. And you're gonna write about a chicken heart. It was my way to make fun of him. For about a few days, we played with that concept. He was mad, but I said, "No, William, it's a good thing because everybody it's born small with a chicken heart. And if you open up your mind, you're gonna grow into a lion heart. By then, if you open up your heart and it grows, you can even fly and become a dragon heart." Now, wow, now I have a concept. So we went with that concept and we started writing. Basically, what happened is I put my kid into kind of a bubble. So he has kind of the beginning of, and now he had to tell his version of that story. And I recorded him on, an iPhone. So Siri on iPhone by that time it sucked, but he was speaking. He see words appearing on the screen. So in his mind, he was writing. I have to be very attentive to hear what he was saying, and I have to rewrite that. So within I think 2 weeks, we have the chicken heart and the lion heart complete. Because when we know that's two stories. Now the problem happened when we have to reach the dragon heart because that's the third book, and basically we have no story. And the funny thing is, remember that he was 8. He asked me, "Papa, if dragons are true, how come I never saw one?" I was, oh shit. what, how do I answer that one? So basically, I have to reckon. So the worst thing to do is to let your kid down. So then you have to be smart enough to say something. And out of the blue, I said to him, William, you never saw dragons because they change shape. A dragon, as they're gonna master a shape, then to keep the fun, they're gonna forget everything and then learn something new. So dragons are everywhere, but you don't see them. And that brought us the story of the third book. But basically, when you go to those are philosophy book, put for in the words of 8 years old. So that was 3 books. That was a trilogy, and we did that I think from December 1st to December 23rd, and we were very proud of it. And I even tried to hire artists to make the drawing, but since it was Christmas, nobody was answering. So I got frustrated. I have to do my own illustration, and that's another story. But I ended up doing so many illustration, and we finished those books. So something happened is his mom come to me and said that we have a problem. And just so you know, by 3 books within 3 weeks for a kid, I was seeing the world record coming. He's gonna go to Helen, but then I was saying we have a problem. So what's the problem? The the little guy is failing his French class by 55%. And in Quebec, it's very important to speak French because you have that. That's but I'm French. My kid watch YouTube and Netflix. He's not French, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, this looks bad. How can I fix this? I have no clue. But then I took his book, say, okay, William, I am a chicken. Then he has to say, je suis un poulet. So he basically, at 8, retranslate all his books phrase by phrase. And those books were not big books. It's about 5,000 words. So basically, within about a day or so before Christmas time, we have now two trilogies, one in French, one in English. So that was 6 books. And then I was so happy that we were done. We were about to celebrate Christmas, and I told to him, "William, we're done." And he looked at me with those eyes from Shrek. I said, "But Papa, I want more. We share a
Wow.
connection."
Wow.
And I excused for the vocabulary, but in my mind I said, "The fuck you want more?" You know what that's mean? But also I was building up so much drawing and also illustration because I bought royalty free images to combine to make those image. So I do have enough to make another book.
Mhm.
And I always want to make a reboot of the Fable of La Fontaine. So we agree. Let's make a fourth book, and a fourth book, that's mean that you have to translate it. So that's 2 books basically. And now that the chicken has become a lion, the lion has become a dragon. How about the other animals? So the fourth book is we are all dragons. They all want to become dragons, and I was super proud. So I went to my wife and say, "Listen, William wants more book." I was sure that I was getting late that night. No, she panicked. Said, "No, no, 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 no! You guys are working way so hard, and we have a cruise to catch in New York, so we have to basically drive from Montreal to New York. And if you guys are doing this, you're gonna be stressed out the whole time." So basically, she was mad that my kid wanted more books. We had to hide. We had to hide
Yeah.
to write those 2 books, and it was just very fun as father and son. Um, we went to New York. We filmed video clips of the kid talking about his first 3 books. We did other activities that my wife wanted to do, and my in-laws were with us too. And by the 31st, I remember that at 3 in the afternoon, we have the 2 other books finished. And in my mind, it was, that the dragon numbers in the Chinese culture is 8, but
Mhm.
8 is mostly the sign of the infinite. So I was saying, he's 8. If I gave his first world record at 8 of 8 books, that's the infinite of wealth and of wisdom. I'm cool as a dad. So
Mhm.
I was pushing for that.
So,
After the cruise, went back home, and then again I said, "We're done. Now I have to go run to the publisher to have those books published." He was looking at me and said, "But Papa, I don't want it to be over." And I went to my publisher, and by the way, by that time I had billionaires waiting for me, mentors who create billions, was waiting for me to start a book together. And
mhm.
I was delaying them now because I had to write books with my kid. So I had a lot of things to do.
Mhm.
But then we arrived at my publisher, and all I can see is the lips moving from her, but I couldn't hear anything because all I saw was my kid say, "But Papa, I don't want to break the connection." So I went back home and said, "William, fuck that. Let's do it." And we keep writing, keep writing. And this is the magic of the story. I never push my kid, even if I look as an Asian father.
Mhm.
My kid pushed me, not the way around.
Mhm.
And remember that my big landmark work was to write 15 books within 15 months. 3 months later, I had an event, and then I have to go to kind of pretty much where I was. And the event was mine. So people were paying just to see me.
Mhm.
I got my kid involved, but I went through my book twice to make sure that the count was right. By that time, I have 36 books within 18 months plus 1 week. And the plus 1 week, it was because I had to wait for his spring break for him to finish translating the last book. It was crazy. It was surhumane, but we made it. And I can tell you that every words we went through this. So in our vocabulary, it's we kind of break the sound barrier at that stage. And after that, I never stop. He is going with me back and forth. So sometimes he write books, but by now he is now 13. He has 1 solo book and about 40 books co-author with me. It's kind of a tradition now. By Christmas time, we have to find a story to write together, and then by summertime, when the other stuff, chickens are not cutting that anymore. So now we write about demons and all my fantasy books are coming because my son is there. So by now, I think we have two. Yeah, we have three franchise of books writing about fiction. But and that was also something that was very refreshing to me because I'm usually writing books about personal growth, about politics, about dentistry, about economy, and then to write books about fiction is like, yeah, no, the rules are different.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much how it came to write with my son. Now, thanks to that, I'm not his dad anymore. I'm his buddy. We're partners, and since he was 8, he even told me that I was the only person who talked to him as an equal. So that's pretty cool. It's when you're equals, you don't have to teach your kid anymore. All you have to do is challenge him. So that kind of reversed everything. So he loves me. I think I'm the person he's the most scared of because he's scared to disappoint me.
Mhm.
But by the end of the day, he also have to come to me because I'm his best friend.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much the story.
Dr. BaK, it's an honor to have you on the podcast, the YouTube channel, and share a lot of insight, your story, your son's story, Alpha's story. I can't wait so we can get back another time, continue talking about uh, collaboration of dentistry and other things. But it's an honor. I really appreciate your time today. So much to learn from you. I see how you connect with your son relationship and the journey with the book. Very proud of your son, by the way. Awesome guy. So wonderful.
Actually, the honor was all mine. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for making me look good, actually.
You are amazing guy. You are amazing guy. I can say that, you are one of the kind, very rare, very rare. So yeah, very proud to get to know you. So see
So
you
much.
again next time. See you again next time. Have a great weekend with your family.
You too.